Welcome to the Deep Dive. We take stacks of information, find the key nuggets, and get you well-informed fast. Today, we're plunging into something huge, something that's really changing our world and definitely our classrooms. Artificial intelligence in education. The sources we looked at paint a pretty vivid picture, loads of potential, but also some, complex challenges for teaching and learning.
Absolutely. It's been incredible to watch AI's adoption curve. Really remarkable. I mean, generative AI tools hit 50 million users in just 5 weeks. That's way faster than the internet, even faster than social media. So yeah, it's not really if AI will be in education anymore, it's how. How do we get our heads around it and shape its role? That's what we're exploring today.
Okay, let's unpack that. When we talk about what AI can actually do for learning, what's the big, exciting impacts? Feels like personalized learning is right at the top.
Oh, definitely. That promise of truly personalized learning, that's one of AI's most powerful angles. Think about Duolingo, world's biggest free language platform, right? The founder, Louis von Ahn, he basically took an idea from Recap TCHA.
Right, where people were typing words from scanned books without realizing it.
Exactly. He applied that kind of mass participation idea to language learning, built this incredibly powerful personalized system. Now it's got, 100 million users. The really cool insight there is how these totally different ideas can come together and create something completely new for learning.
That basic idea of tailoring content is strong, but how's that personalization moved on? Beyond just learning vocabulary or grammar.
Yeah, it's getting much more dynamic, truly transformative, actually. We're seeing it in places like the Alpha School model. They talk about a 2-hour learning block with an AI tutor that's, and I quote, entirely personalized and adapted to where that student is at.
So kids in the same class could be doing totally different things.
Precisely. Different math problems, maybe framed around their own interests, baseball stats for one kid, fashion design for another, and getting feedback instantly. The goal isn't just remediation, it's aiming to get every student into the 99th percentile, whatever their starting point was. That moment-to-moment adaptation is the real game changer.
So it's not just the topic, but the difficulty level adjusting as they go.
Exactly right. Scott Boland, he's a cognitive scientist, calls this optimal learning, getting information right at the periphery of our knowledge.
That sweet spot where it's challenging, but not impossible.
AI can deliver stuff right there. And Boland talks about techniques like spaced repetition, bringing information back just when you're about to forget it, and active recall, basically testing yourself. He suggests combining these can double your performance for the same study time. An AI tutor can track exactly what each student knows, what they don't, and serve up the right thing at the right time. It shifts learning from just taking stuff in to really engaging with it.
That's really interesting. Are there good examples showing these AI tutors actually providing that kind of feedback, the kind that really makes a difference?
Oh, yeah, definitely. There was a study, University of Wharton and a school in Budapest, I think, math classes. They had one group with a GPT tutor that gave hints, not direct answers.
Okay, hints.
Yeah. That group did 127% better on practice problems than the control group. And, crucially, they performed just as well on the final test. But another group had uninhibited access. They could just get the answers from the AI. They actually did worse on the final test.
Wow, okay. So just getting the answer is counterproductive.
It seems so. The takeaway is pretty clear. AI is most helpful when it guides the process, not just gives the solution away.
That hints versus answers thing feels key.
Mm.
And I was also really struck by that Harvard study, the physics one. Students using a self-paced AI, getting immediate feedback, performed twice as well as the group with traditional lectures and group work.
Twice as well, yeah.
And they were more motivated, too. It really suggests that how the AI is designed, how you interact with it, is absolutely critical. We've also seen things like PBS Kids working on interactive shows, using AI to prompt dialogue, boost STEM skills in young kids, giving them support based on how they respond. It's about creating that dynamic back and forth.
It is. But, we need some perspective here, too. AI tutors are showing great promise, especially in those measurable skill areas. But studies also suggest that experienced human teachers, they're still much better at spotting the why behind a student's mistake, the deeper misconceptions.
Okay. Beyond just the surface error.
Exactly. And providing feedback that's truly tailored to that student's whole understanding, that human connection, that intuition about where a student really is. AI isn't there yet. It's a tool, a powerful one, but it doesn't replace a great teacher's empathy.
Okay, so we've got this personalized learning angle. But thinking bigger picture, can AI actually break down barriers, make quality education more accessible, maybe globally.
That's definitely one of the big hopes, our really profound promise. UNESCO is pushing for a human-centered approach, aiming for AI for all. The goal is to tackle those existing inequalities in access to knowledge, make sure technology doesn't just widen the gaps.
Yeah.
And Jennifer Carolyn, she co-founded an edtech investment firm. She makes a really interesting point. She says banning AI in schools could actually create an equity problem.
How so?
Well, think about it. Students from more affluent backgrounds, they'll likely have access to these AI tools at home, outside school, but students in less privileged communities, if the school bans it, they might miss out entirely on learning skills that are becoming really common in the workplace. So banning it could actually hurt the students it's meant to protect.
That's a really important perspective.
Right.
So it could widen the gap unintentionally.
Potentially, yes.
And what about the teachers themselves? You hear so much about burnout. Can AI actually help ease their workload?
Oh, that's huge. It's not just a nice to have, it feels almost essential. Teachers work, on average, 53 hours a week. Burnout is a massive issue.
Yeah.
So our sources suggest generative AI could save educators somewhere between 5 to 10 hours a week on admin tasks. Some pilot programs even saw up to 13 hours saved.
5 to 10 hours a week. That's significant.
It's huge. That's time they can spend focusing on individual students, planning creative lessons, not just drowning in paperwork. It really reframes the job. We're seeing tools like TeachFX that uses voice analytics to give teachers feedback on their own teaching, like how much wait time they give, what kinds of questions they ask.
Wow.
Or Elicit, an AI tool that helps summarize academic research, like an automated literature review. These things free up teachers for what they call high-value interactions.
That idea of freeing up time for higher value stuff connects to creativity too, right?
Yeah.
I was intrigued by this concept of a vibe engineer.
Yeah, the vibe engineer.
Someone who uses AI to quickly build apps or tools based on a passion, a feeling, and understanding of what people need. It sounds very human-centered.
It really is. And the impact on creativity itself is fascinating. There was this study, Business Recorder reported on it, using Lego blocks. Engineering students were asked for ideas on how to use a block. On average, they came up with about 4.4 ideas initially. Then they used generative AI. The average number of ideas jumped to 8.8, doubled their idea fluency.
Doubled it. But were the ideas more original?
Well, the originality scores only went up slightly. So AI seems great at generating volume, lots of ideas quickly. Humans are still very competitive when it comes to genuine novelty. But the key thing isn't just the number. AI lowers the barrier. It makes it easier to get started, to brainstorm. It frees up our human creativity to focus on the really unique angle, the nuance. Martin McAllister from Google shared a story about an 8-year-old using Gemini. He gave it a detailed prompt for his dream car, and it visualized it for him. It helps us visualize our dreams. Maybe take that first step.
Okay, but with all this power comes
Yeah.
the tricky stuff. Ethics, data privacy, security, especially with kids' data.
Yeah, this is where it gets, as one source put it, deeply questionable. Children's data is incredibly sensitive. The big questions are, what data is being collected? Are parents actually aware? Are they consenting? And maybe most importantly, how is that data being used or interpreted?
Right, who owns it? What are they doing with it?
Exactly. CoSN, that's a big K-12 tech group, they're really pushing for investment in secure, privacy-focused platforms, not just relying on free tools where basically you trade in our data to pay for the service.
The old, if it's free, you're the product issue.
Pretty much. And the U.S. Department of Education's guidance echoes this. Developers need to prioritize safety and security and maximizing student privacy. It has to be foundational, not an afterthought.
So if AI has all this potential, but also these risks, how do we stop it from just making the educational divide even wider? You mentioned the equity issue with banning it.
It's a critical point. We could easily end up with an AI divide, just like we had digital divides before. It risks creating that Matthew effect. We talked about the advantages compound for those who already have them. Students with access get further ahead, widening the gaps.
So what's the answer? If banning isn't it?
The consensus seems to be teaching AI literacy as a core skill, a hard skill, right there in schools. Like Jennifer Carolyn argued, making sure everyone gets exposure, especially kids in underserved communities who might not get it otherwise. It needs partnerships, tech companies, schools, government, all working together to make sure access is equitable.
And amid all this tech, what about the human element? Collaboration, discussion, just being in a room learning together.
Absolutely vital. That's where this idea of humans in the loop comes in. AI should support teachers, amplify what they do, not try to replace them.
Right.
There's a real ethical flag raised about the potential for a new addiction to chatbots. One source called it an infinite, never-ending opportunity to engage with an imaginary friend.
Oof. Yeah, you can see the concern there.
We've seen the damage social media can do to youth mental health, identity. That dissonance between online and offline selves someone described using the Barbie was the first avatar idea. We cannot afford to just repeat those kinds of social experiments with AI without extreme caution.
We need psychologists involved, ethicists.
Yeah, absolutely. At the table from the start, the core message from the sources is really clear. Learning is fundamentally social. As one expert stated, neither AI nor other technologies could replace classrooms, educators, and the human connections. That's what cultivates real learning and development. It's about synergy, amplifying the good stuff, using AI as one tool in the box.
So thinking about the future then. Beyond today's AI, what's coming next? What emerging tech might really shake things up even more?
Well, Scott Boland talks about moving towards integrative AI. Think generative AI merging with things like virtual and augmented reality.
Okay, VR and AR.
Yeah.
How would that look in education?
Imagine fully immersive VR environments for learning languages, where AI characters adapt conversations based on your skill level. Or using gesture recognition with AI to teach dance or sign language with personalized feedback. Business schools are already thinking about virtual trading floors where AI adjusts the market complexity for different learners. VR can even help inclusion, letting students interact through avatars if they prefer. It's about creating these incredibly rich, responsive learning worlds.
That sounds powerful. But it also brings up worries about core skills. If AI makes things easier, helps us learn facts faster, does it hurt our ability to think critically, to problem solve on our own?
That is a huge concern, a very real one. Studies from Microsoft, Carnegie Mellon, they've noted this potential for over-reliance on artificial intelligence to possibly reduce our ability to think critically.
Oh, you bet, lazy.
So essentially, yeah, if we constantly outsource the cognitive heavy lifting, we risk becoming cognitively weaker. We short-circuit the actual thinking process. It leads some people to advocate for radical self-dependence. AI is fantastic at procedural, knowing the facts, the processes, but humans bring lived experience and deep insights. AI can't replicate that wisdom, that context.
So the goal isn't just getting answers from AI, it's learning how to think with AI.
Exactly. That's why AI literacy is so vital, teaching students to question AI outputs, to be critical consumers, maybe even showing the prompts they use to get an answer. It's about teaching how to think, not just what to think using a new tool.
And what skills should we be focusing on then for this AI-infused future?
Interestingly, the experts are really doubling down on non-technical skills.
Like what?
Things like critical thinking,
Right.
obviously, but also the ability to read more, discuss ideas deeply, having the freedom to play more, which fosters imagination and collaboration. Also long-term thinking and cross-disciplinary thinking.
Skills that are uniquely human, really.
Exactly. And importantly, skills we can foster without expensive tech. They're about mindset and practice. The future workforce won't be about one job for life. People will have multiple careers, maybe across different fields. Adaptability and broad thinking are key.
So it sounds like the whole vision is shifting. Less about training kids for specific jobs that might not even exist soon.
And more about, as the sources suggest, preparing people for life, empowering kids to lean into the problems they want to solve, the ways they want to impact the world. Scott Boland had that great quote, "Education is the kindling of a flame, not the filling of a vessel."
I like that.
Yeah. The goal is to nurture that natural curiosity, that joy in learning, let students explore, find their own paths, unlock their own potential.
So really, AI isn't the main event. It's a powerful supporting tool. It offers this unique extra layer on top of everything else we have, the teachers, the classrooms, the books, the collaboration.
Right. It's not about replacing the magic of a great classroom or a dedicated teacher. It's about amplifying what's already working well.
Okay, so where does that leave us?
Well, the future of AI in education, it's not some fixed point we're heading towards. It's a path we're creating right now with every choice we make. The responsibility really falls on everyone, educators, policymakers, the tech developers, parents, students too. We all need to ensure AI genuinely enhances learning, fosters that critical thinking, and prepares every child. Not just preparing them for a world with AI, but preparing them to thrive, adapt, innovate, and do it all ethically. So the question for you, listening, is, what will you do to make sure AI helps kindle that flame of curiosity for the next generation?